We started by grading Shedeur Sanders. What grade would you give him for yesterday?
That's a tough one because, the grading scale for a rookie in his first start is going to be obviously a sliding scale.
We use that sliding scale.
Right. All right. So I would say an A. Because
Nice.
when I looked at what I wanted to see from him in his first start, I wanted to make sure that he wasn't taking sacks. He wasn't just backing up if he didn't really have a clear idea of where the ball was supposed to go. He was throwing the ball away instead of taking sacks. He was making some of those off-schedule plays as he's rolling out of the pocket. And I thought he did all of those things in spades. He stayed calm. He hit big plays down the field. And so he showed significant growth from what we saw not only in college and preseason, but what we saw 2 weeks ago against the Ravens. He opened up this offense to be able to push the ball down the field, to give us some of those easy completions, to give us more chances to be able to run the football and take some easy stuff. And so I think you got everything you wanted from Shedeur Sanders in this game. And I'm so excited. I'm sure they're going to name him the starter this week.
And just like that, Shedeur Sanders walked into his first NFL start and turned Cleveland upside down. This wasn't supposed to happen. A rookie, a backup, the 42nd quarterback since 1999, and somehow the only one who finally snapped a 17-game losing streak for Browns quarterbacks making their debut. But here he was, calm, sharp, unmoved by the moment, slicing the Raiders' defense for 209 yards, a touchdown, and a 24-10 Cleveland win that felt bigger than any number on the scoreboard. And the craziest part, the instant Shadur stepped onto that field, it didn't feel like a rookie moment. It felt like the beginning of something bigger. Because when Joe Thomas starts a segment by giving a rookie quarterback an A, Cleveland needs to pay attention. Shadur didn't just win the game. He changed the conversation in Cleveland. Joe said it clearly. What he wanted from Shadur was maturity. No panic. No reckless sacks. No retreating 12 yards backwards because the first read wasn't there. He wanted a quarterback who would throw it away, extend plays, and stay calm. And Shadur delivered all of that. In spades. Joe Thomas literally said the words. He stayed calm. He hit big plays down the field. He opened up this offense. Let that sink in. A Hall of Famer who's watched every quarterback disaster in Cleveland for the last decade, saying a rookie just elevated the entire operation. But it wasn't just poised. It wasn't just arm talent. It was something else. Something Cleveland hasn't had in a long time. A quarterback who makes the offense feel dangerous. And that is why this win over Las Vegas felt different. This wasn't a defensive grind. This wasn't a lucky break. This wasn't a hope we survive football game. This was the Cleveland Browns moving the ball down the field because their young quarterback actually knew how to cook. By the time the Raiders realized what was happening, Shadur had already spread the field, hit shots outside the numbers, punished them on rollouts, and created exactly the kind of rhythm that Tommy Rees wanted to build. And that right there is where things get even more interesting. Because Joe Thomas didn't stop at praise. He said something Cleveland wasn't ready to hear. He said the Browns might be facing a franchise-changing decision by the end of the season. Do you stick with Shedeur Sanders? Or use the 2 first-round picks to draft someone else?
Well, I think Tommy Rees did a really good job of doing that, of calling a lot of those rollout plays, of calling those plays. And one of them that I really liked is when you saw the whole offensive line, including the tight ends, it looked like they're almost running like an inside zone to the right. And so they kind of start those steps, so you get the defense to start reacting, and then all of a sudden they kind of flip their hips and then block so that Shadur could fake the handoff and then do a little half roll to his left. And so now he's rolling out to the left. You saw that time and time again with Tommy Rees, where he was trying to give him opportunities to maybe have a little play action and then break contain and get outside the pocket and then give him a read. So it's a structured rollout, and then it does cut the field in half, which makes it a little bit more difficult. A lot of quarterbacks don't like that. But for a young player where you don't want to have him making full field reads, where he's got to look left, look right, and he's got so many things to think about, you just cut the field in half. You give him a half roll or a full rollout, and then it's pretty easy for him. Hey, I'm reading this top down, or I'm reading this from the bottom and to the deep route. And so he can easily look and say, oh, we got Isaiah Bond streaking down the sideline. Is he open? No, but you know what he did is he took the safety, or he took the corner with him. And so that opens up the middle of the field.
Here's where things get real. Because Joe Thomas didn't just say Shadur played well, he hinted at something so big, so controversial, it should have set off alarms across the entire AFC North. If Shadur continues to grow at this rate, Cleveland might already have their franchise quarterback. That's right. The kid who wasn't supposed to start this year. The kid who was supposed to sit, learn, wait. The kid who stepped in because Dylan Gabriel entered concussion protocol might actually be the answer. And honestly, look at the evidence. Poise? Efficiency? Mobility? Off-schedule creativity? Massive check. No panic under pressure? Ability to activate the offensive playbook? And honestly, if Shadur keeps playing like this, there won't be a decision to make. The future might have just walked into the building wearing number 14. Do you think Shedeur Sanders should remain the Browns starter next week against the 49ers, no matter what Dylan Gabriel's injury status is? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm reading everyone. Now let's dive deeper into what actually happened on that field, because Shadur didn't just look good, he looked NFL good. Tommy Rees crafted one of the smartest rookie quarterback game plans we've seen this season. Cleveland fans know the deal. You don't throw a rookie into the deep end and expect full field reads. Not in week 1. Not against NFL speed. Not against a Raiders team that still knows how to disguise coverage. So what did Rees do? He built a structure around Shadur that let him thrive. Rollouts, half-roll play action, designed movement, pocket simplification. Joe Thomas broke it down beautifully. The offensive line sells inside zone right, the defense flows, then suddenly the line flips hips and walls off the backside, giving Shadur a clean half-roll left. In other words, designed movement without chaos. Movement with purpose. Movement that puts Shadur exactly where he's most comfortable, on the edge, reading high to low, keeping plays alive. This is the same blueprint Colorado used. It's the same thing he mastered in college. And in the NFL, it looked even better. Because on those rollouts, Shadur wasn't guessing, he wasn't hesitating, he wasn't overwhelmed. He looked like a quarterback who's been doing this his whole life. And that's because he has. Joe Thomas even said it, Shadur's not fully comfortable stepping up into the pocket yet. That's normal for a rookie, but when you move the pocket, when you give him vision, when you cut the field in half, he becomes a weapon. And we saw it over and over again. Isaiah Bond streaking down the sideline, pulling safeties, opening up crossers and easy checkdowns. That's veteran quarterback stuff. That's command, that's reading leverage, not just reading plays. And that is the reason Cleveland suddenly looks different. Because when the quarterback makes quick decisions on the move, the entire offense starts to breathe. The running game opens up, the safeties hesitate, the linebackers freeze, and suddenly, Quinshon Judkins starts finding lanes. Which brings us to something Joe Thomas said that raised a lot of eyebrows. He said Judkins is special, not good, not promising, special. That matters because special running backs don't show up unless the defense is forced to respect the quarterback. And the Raiders respected Shadur. They had to. If Shadur plays like this again next week, do the Browns have to keep him as QB1 the rest of the season? Tell me what you think, because this could turn into a full-blown quarterback controversy. The Browns looked more dynamic with Shadur in one game than they've looked in the last month. He didn't just run the game plan, he elevated it. He didn't just manage the offense, he expanded it. And that is what makes this so controversial. Because Kevin Stefanski refused to name him the starter for next week. He said he was proud of him, but wouldn't commit. But because Cleveland has never been in this position before, they've never had a young quarterback who looked this confident, this polished, this ready, this fast. There's fear in commitment, hope mixed with doubt. But every time Shadur makes a throw on the move, every time he hits a crosser in stride, every time he refuses to panic under pressure, the decision becomes clearer. The Browns didn't just win 24-10, they found life again. And the fans know it, the locker room knows it, and yes, Joe Thomas knows it. Should Kevin Stefanski publicly commit to Shadur right now, or is he right to stay quiet? Now here's where the story takes its turn. Because while a lot of rookies survive their first start, Shedeur Sanders actually improved the team around him. Joe Thomas made something very clear. Shadur didn't just play well, he made his O-line, his receivers, and even his play caller look better. And when a young quarterback can do that, you don't bench him, you build around him. Joe broke down a perfect example on those rollouts. The entire offensive line sold inside zone. They gave the defense a false read. They forced safeties and linebackers to react to movement they thought they recognized. And then Shadur flipped the script. He rolled out. kept his shoulders square, read the field high to low, and forced the Raiders to defend something they had no answer for. A quarterback who can extend plays without losing structure. That right there is rare for a rookie. Most first-year quarterbacks panic when they move. They abandon reads. They throw late over the middle. They take sacks trying to hit miracle throws. Not Shedeur. He played like someone who's lived this offense already. Because he has. Colorado built him for this. Tommy Rees adjusted the Browns' offense to him. And now Cleveland has something they haven't had since, honestly, maybe since forever. A quarterback whose strengths actually match the system. And this is why the Raiders' defense looked completely overwhelmed. When Shadur started rolling out and reading the field without hesitation, the middle opened wide. Crossers got space. Checkdowns turned into easy completions, defenders lost leverage, and suddenly, Quinshon Judkins became unstoppable. Joe Thomas said Judkins is a special back. Special, not solid. Not promising. Not has upside. Special. And what makes a special back look even better? A quarterback who forces the defense to play honest. The Raiders had to account for Shadeur's mobility. They had to account for his eyes downfield. They had to account for his arm on the run. That created hesitation, and hesitation, even half a step, is all Judkins needs. Jump cut, slide through a crease, accelerate into daylight. That's why Joe Thomas said his vision and lateral quickness are God-given. And Cleveland saw the full version of that because Shadur kept Vegas from stacking the box. That's how you build a functioning NFL offense. Quarterback manipulates the defense. Running back punishes the defense. Play caller controls the rhythm. Everything finally worked in harmony because of Shedeur Sanders. If this is what Shadur looks like in his first start, imagine what he'll be by week 10. And here's the part Browns fans can't stop talking about. Joe Thomas said something that hit like a thunderbolt. If he continues to grow at this level, there's going to be a really hard decision if he's your franchise guy at the end of the season. That is not something Joe says lightly. He has seen every quarterback come through those doors. He's watched the failures up close. He's watched the collapse of great defenses because the offense couldn't do its part. And now he's saying something Cleveland has been terrified to believe for 25 years. We might have something real here. That's the part the national media isn't talking about yet, but they will. They're too busy looking at stats, social media clips, box scores. They're missing the bigger picture. Cleveland played with confidence. Cleveland played downhill. Cleveland played like a team with a quarterback they trust. You cannot fake that. Players know. Coaches know. Opponents know. Shadeur's presence changed the energy. If Shedeur Sanders leads the Browns to another win next week, should the front office stop scouting quarterbacks altogether? Let me know in the comments. This might get heated. But let's address the biggest controversy. Is Dillon Gabriel getting his job back? Look, Cleveland respects him that he earned his opportunity. He didn't lose the job because of performance. He lost it because of injury. Normally, that means you get your spot back. But the NFL is not normal. The NFL doesn't care about fair. The NFL cares about winning. And in the one game that mattered most, the game where Cleveland desperately needed a spark, Shadur delivered everything the Browns have been missing. And now the coaching staff is stuck. If they go back to Gabriel and the offense slows down, Stefanski is going to get buried by the media. If they stick with Shadur and he keeps playing like this, the fan base will riot if they ever take him off the field again. This is how quarterback controversies begin. Rookie overachieves. Starter is recovering. Locker room rallies behind the new guy. Media smells blood. Fans start choosing sides. The coach stays silent. And Kevin Stefanski is already doing the one thing coaches do when they know a controversy is starting. He's refusing to commit. That silence speaks louder than any press conference quote ever could. The Browns aren't just choosing between two quarterbacks, they're choosing the direction of the franchise. And let's be honest, after 42 different quarterbacks since 1999, Cleveland deserves someone who feels like the future. Someone who brings calm. Someone who brings confidence. Someone who brings leadership. Shadur walked into his first NFL start in a pressure cooker with a franchise starving for hope. And he delivered a grown man performance. That's why Joe Thomas was smiling, that's why the locker room was buzzing, that's why fans stayed in their seats longer than usual after the final whistle. They felt it. This wasn't luck. This wasn't a one-off. This wasn't a system carrying a rookie. This was a rookie carrying the system. That's the part nobody's saying out loud yet, but everyone is thinking. Do you believe Shedeur Sanders could actually become the Browns' long-term QB1? Let me know. This is the debate every Browns fan needs to have. And with all that said, let's finish this the right way. Cleveland, enjoy this moment. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't just win a football game, but he brought hope back to the franchise. He played with confidence, that he played with control, that he played with the swagger of someone who's not just visiting the NFL, but plans on staying. And if this is only the beginning, then the AFC North better start paying attention. Because the kid with the calm eyes and the fast release is about to make a lot of people rewrite their quarterback rankings. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more cinematic NFL stories just like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications here on Gridiron Insights, where we bring you the real stories, the real controversies, and the truth behind every snap in the NFL.